Alright, so track season is upon us. In this video, we're going to teach you how to train in terms of weights for track season. And with this, we're going to stay in the season, not necessarily an off-season workout, but in-season weight training for track athletes. So in my opinion, the two ways to train for in-season track athletes are one, triphasic training, and then two, complex training. So I'm going to write this down. So what triphasic training is, all that is essentially focusing on one of the three phases of each lift. So there are three phases to each lift. You have the eccentric, concentric, and isometric. Eccentric is when you're lengthening the muscle. Isometric is when there's no change. And then concentric is when you're shortening the muscle. Just for example, as a bench press, the main muscles being used are your chest, triceps, and shoulders. As you're going down, it's the eccentric phase because you're stretching these muscles. On the bottom, there's no change, isometric. On the way back up, you're shortening the muscles, concentric. So there was this person named Dietz. He was a coach. I'll link this video in the description. But he had two athletes, similar size, similar build, similar max bench press, and then also like similar techniques in terms of throwing. They were throwing athletes in track. So he had one that had an Olympic level throws, and the other guy was, just a regular track athlete essentially. So he wanted to find out like what was really the difference between the two. So he did many different things. One of the things he did was test their bench press. He's found that the one who could throw further could absorb force better eccentrically than the other guy. So then that's kind of like where triphasic training kind of started. There's techniques that been used before, like a pause rep or something like that, or even going slow down and exploding up. Those things have been done, but now we put it into practice of why we do it now. If you can absorb more force eccentrically, you can push more force out. So that's the purpose of it. And sprinting is a power exercise. So if you can absorb more force, like a squat or something, you can absorb more force out, which means you're faster. And so the other way is complex training. What that is essentially some type of strength movement followed by a power movement right after. So for example, a heavy squat and then a sprint afterwards. So the point of that is because you're getting the most out of that sprint. So whenever you lift heavy, it's more of your central nervous system activated, and with that heightened central nervous system, it's able to translate into that power movement that you do next. For example, a sprint. And you keep doing it, keep training like that. Your body like kind of understands and realizes what the most you can do with a sprint. They feel like your body feels and understands what that feels like now. And so it just translates into the sport. One great story out there is Michael Johnson in the '96 Olympics. He broke the world record for 200 and 400, so like about 5 minutes or so before his 200 race. The rumor is that he squatted very heavy, like 4 plates, a couple of reps, a couple of sets, and with that heightened central nervous system, he was then really warmed up and ready to go for his 200. So this is relevant to track and any other sport as well, but very relevant to track because the more force you apply to the ground, the faster you'll go centrally. So if you can be more forceful in your power, like a sprint, faster, it's too easy, right? And of course, other factors can affect your speed, like your technique, your endurance, just overall strength, you know what I'm saying? But this is just one aspect to improve in track. So in regards to being in season, this type of training, like any other sport, 2 to 3 days max. It's too easy for me, just 2 days. If you're a professional athlete, I can understand being in season and doing like 3 days of actual weight training. But for the level I teach each at. 2 days is fine. So with this 2 days, 1 upper, 1 lower. And then what you want to do is you want to have high intensity and low volume. And I'll have another video explaining why that is. So with your compound movements, like five reps or so, like your strength parameters, well, strength and power parameters, like 1 to 5 reps and only 3 sets, and then your auxiliary type things, you can still keep them low reps, but more in the more in those like bodybuilding parameters, like 8 to 12 reps, but still like 2 to 3 sets. Another important reason for that is time you may have to actually be in the weight room, because when you're in season, most of your focus needs to be on the actual sport itself. So this is a sample of something I will have my track athletes do in season. It seems like a lot because track, it's not like a track meet every single week. You might have like one like every other week or every other 3 weeks or something like that. So you can kind of get away with a little bit more in the weight room in season, but still most of that time is still focused on the sport, like so on the track doing running workouts. But just an example, we have a power clean 3x5. Next is where we get that complex training in. We'll have a squat 3x5 and a sprint 3 by the basketball court. Next is where we get that triphasic training in. We have a Bulgarian split squat. I have them doing 3x5, focusing on that isometric phase for this particular portion. Another thing to mention with triphasic training, we want to do like maybe just 1 exercise with that in season, because that does cause a little bit more muscle soreness, and what you don't want in season is a lot of muscle soreness. But the caveat to that is like basketball or football, it's a guaranteed every week thing, or like, you know, twice a week game situation, where track, it's not like that. I can do this today knowing I don't have a track meet until like 3 weeks from now, if that makes sense. So next, we'll end with our auxiliary type stuff. Hamstring curls and leg extensions 2x12, have them supersetted it, mainly because of time. And then finish it off with abs, sprinter sit-ups, 2x20. So it's really 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 exercises that, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, it seems like a lot, but for track athletes, can get a little bit more, especially in weeks when we don't have a track meet. All right, so that is my approach for weight training, specifically for track athletes and specifically for in season. Just a small sample of like 1 day, like 3 weeks before a track meet, you know what I'm saying? But if you like this video, go ahead and like it, share it, subscribe to my channel, and thank you.